Hey, Patrick, how you doing, bud?
Not too bad at all. So we're going back to New York City by the sounds of it.
Well, we're going to be watching Patrick Bet David's Valuetainment short clips in relation to the Pied-à-Terre Tax and the things that are going on in New York City. We just covered Katie Wilson in Seattle, and we were going to wait a month or two, but it looks like things are getting hot here, especially since the governor of the state of New York, Kathy Hochul, is denying some tax opportunities for Mamdani and saying you can't take the money that way. And the way he's expanded his generous programs means that he's going to have to attempt to take money from people because there's that budget shortage, as he was talking about, right?
I think it's what is it 5-6 billion, something like that at the moment.
I believe
Bit
it's
of a shortfall.
5.4 billion. But the thing is that they actually had balanced it, and then Mamdani put in all the things he promised the people he wanted to give them. And when he did that, they went over by a very serious amount. So if they were to use the 2025 budget, it would have balanced and been, if not acceptable, at least understood. But because all the programs he said, the child care and the free buses and all those things.
They all cost money. I think a lot of these socialist mayors don't realize all this costs money.
It's a fact. So we'll have Patrick run this thing right quick here for a moment, and then we'll chime on in.
This is a very interesting story of how bad policies pushes good people away from your city. Rob, you have the clip of Mamdani saying what he's going to be doing to Ken Griffin's house, and then Ken Griffin responds back. Now he responds back at Mamdani. If the audience, if you haven't seen this.
Right, so Patrick talks about bad policies and bad policies causing there to be strife, civil strife, and this is an exemplification of that specific thing, right? With bad policies, you get bad returns, and like Patrick says, really bad knock-on effects, and you're attempting to reach directly into people's bank accounts and wallets and their real estate, and it's really, really not going to work out great.
No, it's very, as I always said, a lot of these guys don't understand simple economics. You can't tax your way out of a shortfall that he has at the moment.
Right.
As it is, a lot of average New Yorkers are already pinned to the collar, as they would say.
For sure. All right, here we go.
This clip is, this guy says, we are no longer going to let billionaires having penthouses here that they no longer live in. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to tax the rich on second properties that they have. And then Ken Griffin responds back in a very simple way. Hey, no problem. You think that's a lot of money for me? Watch what I'm pulling away from New York. But first, watch the socialist, communist, Islamist Mamdani, mayor of New York City, giving his pitch on taxing the rich. Go ahead, Rob.
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. Well, today, we're taxing the rich.
That's really rude. That's really rude. Tapping the glass like that. That's like, hey, I told you I was going to do a thing, and now I'm going to do this thing, and I don't care who it hurts. I don't care who this hurts or who it affects, but
it's going to hurt the entire economy. That's being straight out and honest. I can already tell you exactly what's going to happen.
100%.
People are just going to sell their properties and move out of New York. Simple as that. Yeah,
he is thrilled to announce they've secured a Pied-à-Terre tax. That's the one they got rid of in France in 1950, right?
Yeah, late 50s. Because guess what? It didn't work.
Strangely enough, here we go.
I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a Pied-à-Terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million.
He called him out by name. One of the richest people in New York City. He's like, I'm coming for you, fella.
That's shooting yourself in the foot, isn't it?
Well, you can't fight City Hall unless you're a billionaire, and then you can fight City Hall.
Yeah, this guy can. He'll just pump millions into your opponents for the next election.
Or he'll just take all of his investment out of the city.
Yeah, he just take his ball and go home. Yeah. That's it.
Well, or Florida or Texas. He'll just get a new home.
CEO a lot of them are going to Starbucks. A lot of them going to Texas.
Or Tennessee. The CEO from Starbucks is like, we're going to invest a few $100 million in Nashville, Tennessee. Oops.
Wow. Okay.
PiedATerreTax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich, those who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live here.
Now, understand this policy can be dropped from whatever value it's at now, say 5 million, to 290,000 or 380,000 or 1.2 million. They can just hit everybody with this Pied-à-Terre tax once it's put down, because they just lower the bar and say, well, now you who have this property, now you also get to pay some percentage.
Exactly. And that's the problem with an awful lot of these policies and taxes, is it always trickles downhill to everybody.
Well, and it's also a taking, and it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment because it is a taking, right? You can't do that, like, except for the 16th Amendment, which authorized taxation of the populace, right? And then the states, some of them jumped on board. California and Washington states trying to do it when they have a state income tax, right? It's just it trickles down. Everything becomes more and more and more taxed as the government gets
it makes it. But by the way, it also destroys your local economy, because say if this gentleman just sells off this penthouse, he takes all his money and leaves the state.
Oh, and then sells it for 4.9 million, which is under the 5 million. But then they again just lower the bar to 4.5 million, right?
Yeah. Like this policy is not going to work. It's going to affect everyone at the end of the day.
Poorly.
But even so, they're able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world. And most of the time, these units are sitting empty, since again, they don't actually live here. This is a fundamentally unfair system that hurts working New Yorkers. Now, it's coming to an end. This tax will raise at least $500 million directly for the city. It'll help fund things like free childcare, cleaner streets, and safer neighborhoods. As mayor, I believe everyone has a role to play in contributing to our city, and some a little bit more than others.
Okay,
happy tax
so
day,
you can pause that right there. Okay, so that is Mr. Tax Guy who wants to come and tax you. Ken Griffin, who left Chicago. I believe he left Illinois, if I'm not mistaken.
Chicago,
very wealthy guy. You know,
moved to Florida.
Moved to Florida. Is building a big place, big property, Miami. Yes, and I think he's got something in Palm Beach. Yes. He turns around and says, "Oh, okay. So this is what you want to do." He is appalled after Mayor Mamdani spotlighted his Manhattan house in a viral video announcing a new Pied-à-Terre tax, and the hedge fund titan signaled he might even yank a $6 billion development project that he's a part of. In a video last week, I think you may have that video, Rob.
Back that up a little bit. So check that out. So this is the thing that he's going to be taking away.
A new Pied-à-Terre tax, and the hedge fund titan signaled he might even yank a $6.
Here we go. So billionaire Ken Griffin is appalled with the Pied-à-Terre tax.
Yes.
And he stood in front of the Citadel founder's 24,000 square foot property at 220 Central Park South. Heard that, right? So it's an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, right? And he bought that for $238 million. He bought that penthouse thing up there. So that means he's going to have to pay a portion of that $238 million, right? So that's an unrealized gain. Like, he hasn't sold it. He hasn't done anything with it. He hasn't gone into a contract with somebody else, but they're saying, since this costs this much, then we're going to tax you this much for it. So what this leads to is, well, now we're going to assess all of the things that you own, not just property. And then we're going to assess that because you're a resident of the state of New York. California's trying to do the same thing. But that's going to mean that somebody's going to have to come catalog your stuff. They're going to have to come into your house and say, oh, that's a piece of art. I think it's worth this much. And we'll assess it whatever value and then tax you, right? It's a violation of all kinds of privacy.
No, but also the second part of that story is the fact that now he's going to pull $6 billion out of the local economy.
Right, and that's thousands and thousands of jobs. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, you'll gain 500 million from this tax, but you'll lose billions in the back end because these guys are not going to put up with it. They have enough money to just take that ball, go home, and that's it.
And the people that are going to get these jobs will be able to support their families and do all kinds of things where they can then accelerate their money, get into contracts with other people, make things happen, maybe improve their own house or buy some things.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
That's the problem with an awful lot of these guys is they're chasing the headlines more than common sense. Like, surely somebody in his administration should have told him this is a bad idea.
Right.
But obviously they didn't.
Oh, I sent you a message. Go ahead and check that out because we need to talk about that person as well it's going to be very vital to what's going on here. So take a look at that. Here we go.
Okay.
$6 billion development project that he's a part of. In a video last week, I think you may have that video, Rob. When Mamdani was talking about this, it was a 24,000 square foot property that he owned on, the address is public, $238 million that he bought in 2019, the most expensive home in the country we've secured. He is explaining the tax. Rob, do you have a clip on Griffin?
I do not.
You put yellow here. So is that Mamdani's video?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was Mamdani's video.
Oh, okay. Got it. So, by the way, when he's talking about something like this, Griffin, whose net worth is estimated to be $50 billion, wasn't amused. A top executive at his hedge fund sent a company-wide email Thursday afternoon blasting the mayor's comments and hinting at a potential reversal on a massive Midtown project. Ready for this? We're about to commence the redevelopment of 350 Park Avenue, creating 6,000 highly paid.
Look at that, 6,000 jobs, construction jobs, supporting 15,000 permanent jobs in Midtown New York, right? So $6 billion gone. The opportunity for them to create a situation where you have 15,000 people who are working and are making money in your economy, and then all the knock-on, that 1 to 5 you're talking about, where if I have 5 people working, it supports one other individual running some kind of business.
Yes, right? The local coffee shop, sandwich, all the secondary jobs like that. But that's the problem with, as I'll keep going back to an awful lot of these mayors, is they're playing up to their base. But that, how can I say it? You can't keep everyone happy within your state or your city. You have to kind of, rein it in a small bit of common sense.
Right, like Katie Wilson immediately went out. One of the first things she did was protest Starbucks as the mayor of the city, right?
Yes.
Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. You need to come up with compromises. You need to work with local businesses to expand that economy. And that's going to make everything healthier for the entire economy. But they don't seem interested in that. They seem interested in playing to their base and just making wild statements that have nothing to do with appropriate compromise and advancement of business interests in your area to ensure the economic future of the space. They're like, nah, we'll just, make bad decisions and have viral videos. And
and that's the sad thing, is that they're putting up all this silliness about tax this and tax that. I'm going, or he specifically called out this guy, which I thought was very, very
$50 billion. Yeah. It's an activist screaming at the camera. Right?
Yes.
In a very pleasant voice. But what he's saying is I'm going to take from you. Then you're going to run out other people's money and other people's opportunities, and then everybody's the worse off for it.
Yeah, and there's a potential of losing, 15,000 jobs here by the looks of it?
Right, plus the 6,000 construction jobs that all the unions will be able to hire folks to do to make some money in the interim, and then go from that through their union hall to the next job. There's going to be more businesses developed and created because of this, right? So if that thing goes up, it gets refurbished, you have 15,000 jobs, all those people are going to need things in the local area. They're just going to. And then there's going to be more businesses and more economic growth because of it.
Yeah. It's called the engineer economy for a reason.
Because that's what he's doing. All right.
Yeah, he's just,
jobs and supporting the creation of more than 15,000 permanent jobs in Midtown New York, wrote Chief Operating Officer Gerald Beeson in an email obtained by the Post. The project, if we move forward, will entail more than $6 billion of spending. So a dumb policy that he comes up with could end up costing 15,000 New Yorkers a job, permanent job, and 6,000 construction workers in New York. Double dumb. Tom, your thoughts on the story?
Well, guess what? Do you remember when Bloomberg went out and said, we're going to make flipping burgers not there's this quote he had, and I'm going to butcher it here. We're going to make flipping burgers not dishonorable. We're going to make it a living wage. And he said, this is what we're doing to the minimum wage at fast food. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And so do you also remember how quickly McDonald's put in ordering kiosks that eliminated jobs?
Yep.
At those.
So the same thing happened in California. They raised the minimum wage in fast food restaurants. And so what it does is it takes out all the front counter workers, or all of them, and the only person who can really help customers at the front is the assistant manager, the manager, whoever's there working, who will come up sometimes and help. But almost everybody who goes into a restaurant like this isn't dealing with a person, right? So they cut their payroll by getting rid of the counter workers, and then you just have people in the back that are managing the drive-through and the making of the food, but then they cut out 5, 6, 7, 8 jobs because it's shift work, right? So you have people that come in the morning, midday, and for the evening, right? So for each meal cycle, and they have to do it because they won't be able to keep up with payroll. And payroll is generally one of the biggest issues that you have when you're running.
Is your biggest
business.
outgoing, especially the catering industry, is your biggest outgoing. It's always your wage bill, as they say, at the end of the week.
Right.
But,
and the thing on top of that, in the United States, you have to pay into Social Security, and there's lots of other like workers' compensation insurance. And when I hire someone to work for me, if I pay them $20 an hour, I'm paying out at least $15 to $20 an hour in healthcare benefits and all other kind of things for that employee, right? So when you do this, you remove 6, 7, 8, 10 jobs or whatever it is based on the size of your establishment. And then those people now have to go find another job in the economy, but less people are hiring for the thing they know how to do.
Yeah.
Because the labor costs have skyrocketed, right? So if I go to work for a business and there's a minimum they have to pay me, then they're restricted to the amount of people that they can hire. So these jobs used to be for high school kids and college kids to develop a work ethic and learn how to make a little money and budgeting and stuff like that.
Pocket money. Yeah, make pocket money.
Right.
It was great years ago.
Right.
Absolutely fantastic.
Well, they're pocket money jobs. They are not career-based jobs, right? You need to make yourself more marketable in the economy, and working at the burger flipping spot isn't necessarily going to do that unless your specific direction is to franchise, become a general manager, these kinds of things. And the percentage of those jobs per restaurant is like 2 of all of the employees. So it's less than 5% of the people that work there who are on that track to do general managing or franchising, because franchising takes money. Your basic burger flipper kid isn't going to have that kind of acumen, that kind of access to resources. They're not going to get there. Again, you can't become marketable if you can't maintain some kind of small job. It's just not going to work out for you, right?
No. And as I said, I always consider these jobs stepping stone jobs, where for the short term, you make some money, you go to college and whatever else. But as you say, it's not a career-based job as such.
Right. Your CV is not going to look great if you have 9 burger flipping jobs and nothing else to show except that you flipped a burger. Like, you're not going to advance yourself. You will not become more marketable. You just won't.
No.
So, and that's self-determination and will. You have to will to power and do the thing that's going to make you more marketable. And just saying, well, the government should pay for all these things, and you have to force a minimum wage, so I can work at this job without being marketable and you support me, right? That's not how that works. It removes individual responsibility or any kind of people to advance themselves in society and be more marketable and just be better people for society in general, not just for themselves, but for the society as a whole.
Yes.
Those McDonald's, you still had people making food and everything in the back, but it eliminated, my understanding, was about 7 counter workers per McDonald's, because they don't all work at once. It was like 3 at a time work, and they're all on shifts. Congratulations. Capitalism always wins. Money finds, as they say, water finds its own level. Whenever there's a leak in a house, they say water will find the level point. Guess what? Capitalism always finds its own level. And if you want to sit there and you want to make socialist policies, unless you're going to be so dictatorial, the unintended consequences are going to come back on you, and they're not going to be good. And so you think everybody's going to stay put under this kind of leadership? You think they're going to stay put under this tax? Ask Bloomberg what happened. He always denied it, but he caused kiosk acceleration to come to New York City, and this is going to cause people leaving to also accelerate.
The other thing that it generated was a lot of fast food places trying to do a thing called dynamic pricing. So if you wanted a hamburger at 3 p.m., it would be some base price. Let's say $4 for your hamburger, right? But if it's 6:30, 7:30 in the evening, when a lot of people are ordering hamburgers, then they'll charge $10, $11, $12 a burger. It didn't go well. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So what they did
that's a way of shooting yourself in the foot.
Right. And then you have a lot like Uber Eats and other kinds of food delivery services where they're also adding on their little bit to charge because you have to have somebody go pick up the food and bring it to you. So you could order what would at 3 o'clock in the afternoon were you to go in a $4 burger. You're going to spend $25 or $30 for that burger if you want to take it to your house by someone driving it. That's the cost of the burger being raised because of dynamic pricing, plus somebody bringing you the food and all the other things that get added into that process, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Dynamic pricing didn't go well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was about to say that is the craziest business decision I've ever heard in my life.
Well, it creates uncertainty. Yeah. I don't know if I'm paying $5 for a $5 burger, if I'm paying $25 for a $5 burger, right?
Yes.
I'm not hungry at 3 p.m. Wow. I'm not going to get the burger, but a lot of people get hungry at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, and they're all going down to the burger joint to get a burger.
Yeah. Wow.
Not good.
Yeah, and again, it's common sense. But by the way, Tom, isn't Hochul almost flirting with the idea of supporting him on this idea? Well, Rob, don't you have a clip where Hochul is almost thinking about supporting him? Tom, we talked about this 2 days ago.
Yeah, Hochul is stuck. She needs votes and she needs supports, but she's trying to run this balancing act because she doesn't want to be the one that pays the bill, because then she's going to have to raise tax on all New Yorkers living in the outlying areas in the state. Get it? Because somebody's got to pay for it first.
Is this it?
So just to support the policies in New York City, Mamdani keeps reaching out to Kathy Hochul, the governor of the state, to raise taxes on the entire state, all of upstate New York, to raise the taxes, right, to pay for the policies that he's trying to inundate in New York City.
He wants to spread the taxes outside the city of New York.
Yes, he needs to take other people's money that aren't in his city, so he doesn't look like the bad guy. If he can get it funded,
how do the other mayors of these towns feel about that? I wonder.
Not great, but it's even more. It's even more base than that, because it's the voter base problem, right? So if Kathy Hochul, who's the governor, who's going to probably try and run again, wants to get voted, she can't allow it to happen, right?
Not a hope.
It's a teetering act. Like, how do I satisfy the biggest income space in the state, which is New York City, right? And not Albany, New York, not the capital. Like, Albany is a small town. It's like in California, Sacramento's the capital, but LA County has 12 to 13 million people. There's a lot of power that they have there. So New York City is a super powerful entity just based on the New York Stock Exchange and all the money that comes out of there that goes to the state coffers, right? So she has to balance it. And that's not going to go well if she's like, hey, everybody else in New York, except for the 8 million people in New York City, you have to pay for New York City to function with all the free stuff, the childcare and the free buses and all these programs that he wants to put in place, right?
Wow. She's not going to let him do anything like that.
Yes, sir. Go for it. She went with the second home thing.
Watch this, folks. Go ahead.
Proposing a common sense surcharge on high value second homes in New York City, homes that in many cases sit vacant for a large part of the year. We have the inventory. They're part of our skyline, but those people are not part of our city.
And that's not true at all. Those people are a massive part of your city because they provide a lot of the contracts and the work that goes into creation of wealth in the city, right? And they're already paying the top 10% in the city of New York pay 90% of the tax, right?
Wow.
So if you take them all out, then 10% is going to have to be covered by who's left over.
I think that what they don't seem to understand is rich people can leave. Normal New Yorkers can't. And they are the people who are going to suffer if these guys suddenly pack up their stores or their businesses and just leave New York in general.
Yeah, ask Katie Wilson.
Wow.
Ask Katie Wilson how she feels about Starbucks in her city now. Oops.
Oh, yeah.
Oopa daisy. Sorry. She said, I'm not going to buy Starbucks and neither should you. That's adversarial. That's not great. That's not great by any means or measure.
Translation.
Oh, he's not?
You've got more, they want more.
You know what is crazy, though? Like, you know what state has more of this than any other state in America as a second home? The one we're in.
Yeah.
Florida. And what do they say? You know what DeSantis is doing, by the way? I got to tell you, DeSantis, man, if he gets a good marketing team behind him, DeSantis, what he's doing right now, he said the revenue for real estate, property tax, went in the last 5-6 years from $30 billion to $63 billion that they're collecting. He says, we don't need that additional $33 billion.
Wow.
So DeSantis is sitting out there saying, hey, if you're living from another place and you're here, pay the property taxes. I'm okay with that. DeSantis doesn't want to hurt them. But DeSantis is saying, let's reward the homestead people. So imagine if this is like Mamdani saying, fair, He's going to pay the property taxes, Ken Griffin, and all the rich people that have $5 million homes. But New Yorkers that are here, homestead, you don't pay any taxes. But they're not going through incentive. It's punishment, punishment.
Yeah.
Punishment, punishment versus.
Right. So if you whip people, they're not going to be happy about it. He is exactly correct.
No.
But if you make it
He's
more
right.
palatable, hey, these people pay property tax, but they don't get a Pied-à-Terre tax. But if you homestead here and you live here, we'll either seriously reduce your taxes to reduce the burden so you can afford more things and have a better life and a better outcome in New York City. Come on.
Yeah. But that's what I keep trying to say is he doesn't seem to be coming up with any new ideas about bringing business into New York to grow his tax base.
Well, he's fomenting social programs, right? But those social programs have to be paid for, and someone's going to pay for them. He will attempt to make people pay for his programs that are like, no, you can't just take from me. You can't institute takings like this, because the next thing that comes up is going to be a tax where unrealized gains get taxed, and then they have to come in and inventory all your stuff. Like, there's going to be serious violations of privacy. You won't be able to protect your papers and your things because they will have to come in and assess so they can take from you.
Florida's like, let's incentivize young people to not have to pay taxes, or homestead people. It's a very different mindset, Elon.
Yeah, and you want people like that in your state. You want people who are going to invest massive amounts of money into property, not use the systems, not have to take advantage of welfare. You know what I mean? All the benefits that people want, they're not using those benefits. And they're coming in and putting a ton of money, a ton of development. It's his ideology. They're, over.
They're not taking from the system, they're contributing, and they're contributing in a very, very massive way. They're getting punished. And when you punish people, they don't want to be there for that.
No, they don't. They're not going to sit there and take that.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. It is just, ugh. I want to come up with better words, but it just makes me sick to my stomach. It's horrific. Right?
As I said, don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-tax. The tax has to be there in every system. But have your tax policy with a bit of common sense added in.
Well, not only common sense, but transparency. I want to see where they're spending the money. All of the dollars. Where are all of the dollars going? If we can see that, then we can say, okay, look, you guys overpaid for some stuff. And like, that's not how we're going to do. We're not going to run our business like this, right? But it seems that state workers, city workers, and places like this, there's no punishment for failure to perform, right? For instance, so Proposition 50 came out in the state of California. The first map that they sent was incorrect. So they had to resend all the maps to the voters who were going to vote on Proposition 50. $250 to $300 million error. No one was fired. No one was investigated. It was just a whoopsie. $250 to $350 million isn't a whoopsie.
That's a pretty big whoopsie. Just saying.
It goes beyond whoopsie. It goes to, you should take accountability.
If you're in a private business, you be fired so quickly.
And brought up on criminal charges for incompetence.
Yes.
You would be done. But since they work for the state, right, and it looks like a lot of these polities are having these kinds of issues where there's a fundamental failure because they are incompetent, and everybody all the constituents, all the people who reside in that space are being punished for it. Right?
Yeah.
Reality. And I don't understand how socialists don't pick up on it. It's the most confusing thing in the world to me, where time and time again they go, we have to raise minimum wage, and then you see the decay of jobs, or in a situation like this. So, and I love what DeSantis said, that people who own a home shouldn't have to pay high property taxes. That's the exact right approach. You incentivize people to own homes, but you also bring in economic growth and incentivize investment.
How much? So Ken Griffin's house, penthouse is $238 million. What's going to be what's the tax? Do we know the number?
Yeah, the property tax doesn't stop, and the homeowners association doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So guess
5%.
what? So the
5% of that, Tom.
The doorman's employment doesn't stop. The people that were paid to clean the
5% of $238 million is a huge bit of cash, right? But the problem is we don't know what his liquidity is, right? We don't know if he's using his money to invest it in New York. So then he has to pull all of his money out to pay for the tax, so he can't invest because you've punished him.
And by the way, if normal New Yorkers don't realize, eventually that particular tax will roll downhill to them. Definitely.
So 238,000,000 times 0.05. So Mamdani wants 11,900,000 from Mr. Griffin as a Pied-à-Terre tax. It goes into effect. That's that's bullshit. He's already paying property tax. He's always paying. He's already paying for his HOA.
He's already paying and not only that, but he wanted to create 15,000 jobs as well.
Yeah, full-time jobs plus 6,000 construction jobs.
Maybe not tax the guy who's going to, add tax-paying jobs into your economy so you can pay for all the free stuff.
Right, and here's the logic, right? So he says, well, you have $50 billion. I just want 11.9 million of it on top of the property tax. I just want a little bit. Just want some of it. Like, you should pay a little more.
But the problem is, what they don't realize is you'll burn these guys once and that's it.
Oh, yeah.
They'll just leave.
Yeah, you get the all one and done for sure.
Yes.
And they're already taking it on the nose for the property tax. Like, they're already paying a massive amount of money. Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
To clean the building, window washers, their employment doesn't stop. None of that stuff stops whether you live there or not. And the fact is, he's there a considerable part of the time because he's part of Citadel. And so, I mean, come on.
And I want people to understand. Sorry to cut you off, Eli. I want people to understand. You bust your butt. By the way, Ken Griffin didn't inherit money. He busted his butt, became a freaking
anywhere between $2 to $3 million. He's paying property tax on that
every year
on the penthouse
every year.
Yeah.
So they want to add another tax because he's not there or whatever, which is going to be astronomical. You already know that.
Right, 10 million.
But you bust your butt, you become successful, you're creating jobs like you talked about, and now the mayor of this town is shamelessly looking in the camera and saying, we're going to tax you, and again, saying, I'm going to give it for free this and free healthcare for illegals that are going to come here. I'm going to incentivize. And it goes back.
Right, and sanctuary policies. So he wants to pay for free stuff for people who aren't citizens, but he's brazen about it. Tap in the glass. Hey, I'm taking from you. I'm going to take your stuff to give it to other people. That doesn't feel good. Right?
Well, and in fairness to the CEO, he responded, yeah, you'll take the tax off me, but I'll also take away 15,000 jobs.
Well, 21,000 after the 15,000 base jobs once the Citadel's put back up and it's refurbished, and then the 6,000 jobs. And there's going to be more construction that has to be done down the line on the property as well, which is going to be more jobs for those union members to do their work.
I've always kept going back to a lot of these mayors, is they don't understand basic economic principles. In general, they just don't. Maybe they should look it up on YouTube sometime, or plenty of videos there about how economics actually work.
We should send Mamdani a basic economics course. We should really send him and Sia some real good, solid information about how this works. You think maybe it'll help?
To be honest, at this stage, I think the hole in his budget is so big that there's no amount of common sense economics is going to help him with this one, unless he cuts back on those free programs and cuts back on unnecessary spending.
But Patrick, he promised. He said he was going to do all this stuff.
Well, if he was honest with the people, he could stand up and say, we just don't have the money for it.
I don't know about that. He promised that. He said he was going to.
No, don't get me wrong. By the way, the chance of him getting re-elected after this is probably not good. He's definitely a one-term mayor.
I'm going to go with not good.
He's definitely a one-term mayor. I can see that happening a mile away.
He certainly feels like a single shot.
Because he's going to end up taxing everybody. And I can guarantee he's going to end up taxing everyone.
Right, and then trying to force the governor to tax the entire rest of the state for his programs in his city. Right?
Yes. That's a special kind of arrogance as well, to be honest.
Not great.
To the, either Christian or Muslim, I don't care what religion they are. If you find out that you're gonna get free everything, why wouldn't you want it? I am coming and I'm bringing everybody home. By the way, I'm gonna have babies here too. I'm gonna anchor myself here, so this baby has to be here. I think it's absolutely disgusting, and it's happened. How long has he been in charge, Pat?
Who?
Mamdani?
4 months.
It's
January.
Is anything gonna happen? Because all these plans that he's talking about are gonna take a while. Meanwhile,
Hochul supports it.
It's very dangerous.
Supports it, and Hochul fears AOC. Hochul has to support him.
Oh man,
that's gonna be the problem. If Hochul fears AOC. Because AOC has whose back? Mamdani's
they're all Marxists.
So that's the problem that he has.
Schumer
I'm
is
just
shrinking.
lost by how, again, they don't see the economic consequence. Do they not? They can't be that dumb. So there is something intentional going on. That's my question.
That's what drives me. That's what drives me crazy. Well, like, what is it? What? Give me the
It's
sales
the
pitch.
Marxist socialist path to asset seizure.
Yeah.
This is
Specifically correct. So to pay for all these free things, like if you look at Venezuela, the same thing happened, right? They nationalized the fuel, right, the oils, and then the country went downhill in a very rapid rate, right? Once it started, it wasn't going to stop. So it's just seizure, seizure, seizure. We're taking all of your things, and we're going to provide an environment where you have to depend on the state to get anything.
Yes. Now, it's interesting to see what Mamdani is going to do, because I say towards the end of this year specifically, once it goes into tax season and so on, people have to pay all these extra taxes. How they genuinely feel about their mayor when they have to pay an extra 5 or 6% tax?
You might get recalled. You literally might get recalled.
Do you think so?
Once April 15th of next year hits and people just get slammed, because they still have to pay their federal income tax, based on the base economics of the area, they're all going to be up over 30%, or a great portion of them. And on top of that, if you're paying all these wild taxes, right, and then the jobs go away because the people who have the money to invest leave, then they won't be able to pay the bill. At which point, then New York City has a 6-month block to you selling your home in case they want to buy your property, if it's a rental property that has at least, I believe, 6 units in it, because you can't make money on it, right? And if you can't make money on it, you're just going to let it sit, right? So, yeah,
of course you are.
Looks like
and how does it? But it's interesting. I don't see AOC doesn't seem to be saying much about the mayor raising taxes.
She said she supports him. I support you, 100%.
Okay.
I'm behind you.
So no matter what so she's going to have blind loyalty there, no matter what.
Yeah, that's what she said.
It's surely going to affect her. It's going to surely affect her when she goes for re-election.
In her district, I think she's actually going to be trying for one of the Senate seats.
Oh, okay. She's going up in the world. Okay.
It's the next logical space for her to go. So
true. Yeah. That's true.
And I don't know that Adam Schiff's going to be around for a hell of a lot longer based on how he's getting blown up in Congress as well.
That's true.
Step one.
Did you see him going into Pat? There was a video, Rob. You might be able to find it. He was going to people's houses and going in, and they were inspecting stuff. It's funny that you say that, Tom. I just saw it. I know, Adam, you want to say something. Rob, if you can find it. Mamdani was going to people's apartments.
Well, imagine you're a successful millionaire, billionaire, whatever, and you open up your X account, your Instagram, and Zohran Mamdani's in front of your house being like, look at this rich bastard over here. We're going to tax the rich. And you're Ken Griffin. You bought a second place in New York. You moved your whole business from Chicago to Florida, for a lifestyle, a.k.a. taxes. And there's Zohran Mamdani calling you out. You've just made an enemy of a $50 billion guy. Not only him, any billionaire in America is like, dude, not only am I maybe going to move out of New York, I'm not going to build anything in New York. So to call that.
Right, because you'll just get punished. They will take from you. Once you put yourself in the jaws of the lion, like, just don't put yourself there, which means don't go to New York. It means don't go to Seattle. It means all these things.
Yeah, this young man is right. They're just going to up sticks and leave. And not only, as he said, not just this billionaire, but all the other billionaires are going to pull out of there as well, because they're not going to sit around and get hit with crazy taxes every single year, because they're just not. I'm not going to sit there and take it.
I'm not going to get punched in the face. And if you tell me you're going to punch me in the face, I'm not going to go where the punching in the face happens. I don't get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Ken Griffin for a $238 million apartment. You're going to potentially lose how much money in investment? $6 billion.
Forget about
this.
The
Is the
billion.
definition of putting your nose off
worse than
despite
$6
your
billion
face. Yeah,
is the 15,000 permanent jobs.
Bingo.
By the way, 15,000 permanent jobs. At what price point do you think it's going to be, Tom? 150,000, 125,000?
For sure.
They'll average that. They'll average that. You'll have analysts at $80,000, but you're going to have a bunch of...
No, New York, it's going to be more than that, because it's going to be 150. Remember when Amazon was trying to move there and AOC and Cuomo was like,
down.
what are you doing? Be quiet. It was 25,000 jobs at $150,000 a year, and Bezos was like, you know what? we won't go to New York City. We'll go elsewhere. Somebody else is going to take those jobs. It's double dumb what he's doing. And behind closed doors, I wonder how many people are sitting there saying, well, you know, I don't know if this is a good idea. We got to kind of make a move. You're not hearing a lot of the complaints are happening, but not at the levels where people are worried about it yet. I haven't seen it at that level yet.
Do you remember what Kathy Hochul said a couple weeks ago? She's like, hey, guys in Florida, come back to New York. We need your tax revenue. So which one?
Right, and that's after she said, get the hell out of here. Like, if you want to go, go. Just like Katie Wilson said, if you want to be here, bye. You can go.
Yeah,
Okay.
but then they realize, guess what? You have less in your tax kitty at the end of the year when these guys do leave.
And not by a little, by a lot.
Yeah,
right?
there's a big budget.
Bezos not coming in costing billions. These 15,000 jobs at 125,000 a year, that's a lot of money. A lot of money that you don't have access to.
Flowing around your local economy.
And you're like, you know what? I don't want the money. I don't want that. We'll just tax people who are here, and people that are forced to stay are just going to get hit harder. So buckle up. It's going to be a hell of a ride.
You can see it. As I say, you can see it a mile away when tax season comes around. Ooh, I think people are going to be in for a very rude awakening.
We got some news here today. Last time we did this, it moved very, very fast. We have 200 signed hats from the PBD podcast. And here's what we're doing. Those of you that buy the hats, you know about it. Those of you that don't buy the hats, you don't know. But we probably have a good 80 different selections of hats from.
So now he's going to pimp his products, which is a good deal. So we'll leave that in for Patrick Bet David, because all of our, 7 subscribers are check that out. But was it more?
Hey, he's selling hats. Fair dues to him.
Oh, there you go. Sell some hats. I like that. The hands apart. We're going to sell hats. We're selling hats. So the long and the short of it is, it's economic disaster what he's planning on doing. It is bad business to just beat people up like this. And then again, it's going to lead to unrealized gains kind of taxes, where they have to inventory your stuff so they can take some percentage of your unrealized gains.
Yeah.
Like, this is where this thing leads to, which is functionally how socialism works, because you have to take to institute these programs. Some social order is good, some social programs are good, but when you way overdo it by, you get free everything. Move here, get free everything. You don't even have to be a citizen. Come on down, get all the stuff. Somebody's got to pay for the stuff.
But the sad thing is, this is going to cost tens of thousands of jobs in New York, with very little gain in the back end.
Well, there's going to be a Derek domino effect here, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
It's going to be a domino effect where the jobs are just going to dry up. Restaurants are going to leave. They're making all kinds of crazy rules. So one of the things they do in New York City for storefronts is they have these roll down metal doors that they use. So people don't
roller doors. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So people don't destroy storefronts at night, or like in some places where there's a high homeless population with the open air drug markets and people who are sleeping on the streets and doing wild things on your property at night that are gross and unacceptable, or just destroying and defacing your property. So they have changed the law, or actually it's an ordinance. It's like, I believe 15 or 16 years old, where they say you can't have those metal doors, those rolling doors. They're like, how do I protect my business? If I can't protect my business at night while I'm not there, I'm just not going to have a business here. I will leave. And then everybody suffers. I can't get my kebab. I can't. I can't get my burrito. I can't get my taco. I can't get my hamburger. I can't get my Frankfurter. Whatever it is you want to get.
What I can't understand is a lot of these rules that they put in place make no logical sense whatsoever in the reality of the real world.
Well, it has to do with
absolutely asinine. That's the most polite word I can use for it.
So the United States has gone from a high trust society to a low trust society. It used to be you could leave your front door unlocked, you could leave a bike on the front yard, and nobody would take your stuff. Now, there isn't any way you would possibly do that. You lock everything up, you bring all of the belongings inside, and they still sometimes will come in your house to get your things, because we've become a low-trust society. We can't trust our neighbors to not make bad decisions when it comes to our physical things. They will just take them.
Yes.
All right, Patrick, anything else for the good of the people here?
No. As I said, it was nice to do a balanced approach with this Mamdani thing. So there's a lot more we could say about him, but the overarching idea is a lot of these socialist mayors don't have a clue what in the name of God they're doing.
Right. Well, in a couple of weeks, we're going to go over a lot of their policy decisions that they're making. This was the more emotional kind, but there's a couple of programs, and it's going to be a shorter episode because it's just going to be kind of numbers coming at you and policies and what they're affecting and what they're costing and why it is he's trying to get the rest of the state to pay for his stuff. Right. And
I just love to be a fly on the wall. You know, when he meets the other mayors from the other towns around him.
Oh yeah. Not a popular
I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that meeting.
All right, for Patrick McCallum, I am Alex Johansson. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things, and help us beat the algorithm. For the A&P Gents, we are out.